The Indian government revokes Article 370, which accords Jammu and Kashmir special status, in 2019. A cancer-stricken Pakistani army officer named Quadir is affected by the news and intends to wreak revenge on India. He enters into a deal with Jim, the head of the covert terrorist group Outfit X. A unit called Joint Operation and Covert Research, JOCR, is established by Pathaan, a former RAW agent, and Nandini, his superior officer. This team accepts operatives who were forced to retire due to trauma or injury. Pathaan and his crew depart for Dubai to thwart Outfit X's plot to assassinate the President of India at a scientific conference after receiving Colonel Sunil Luthra of RAW's Joint Secretariat's approval. They eventually understand that their original objective was to abduct 2 scientists. Pathaan tries to stop Jim from attacking the scientists' convoy while he does so. Jim escapes with one of the scientists after a brawl breaks out. Jim, a former RAW agent, was revealed by Luthra to have faked his own death in order to exact revenge on his country for allowing his wife and unborn child to be murdered by Somalian terrorists years before. Pathaan discovers the Raqq Beach code word in the meantime, as well as the fact that the murdered persons in Dubai were ex-agents and their money was sent from the account of a Pakistani doctor in Spain named Rubina Mohsen. He arrives in Spain and is apprehended by Jim's men, during which he discovers that Rubina was an IC agent in the past. Rubina attacks Jim's men as he leaves his hiding place and then flees with Pathaan. They travel to Moscow to take it before Jim does after Rubina makes it known that Raqq Beach is there. Rubina, however, betrays Pathaan and arranges for his arrest. It is revealed that Jim forced Pathaan to steal Raqq Beach for himself by using Rubina. Pathaan is taken prisoner and captured, but Tiger intervenes to save him. 3 years later, Pathaan makes a trip to Africa and apprehends Rafe, Jim's goon. When he encounters Nandini, she tells him that Jim bought 2 Sabre missiles, and she also tells him where Rubina is in Paris. Pathaan encounters Rubina, who informs him that the scientist Jim captured created the deadly smallpox-designed mutant virus known as the Raqq Beach. She also expresses regret for betraying Pathaan while being unaware that her nation was preparing an invasion. While Jim escapes with the second orb, they make it to Jim's lab in Siberia and are able to recover 1 orb that contains the virus. Heading to a lab to create a vaccine against the virus is Pathaan and his team. The orb has already transmitted the infection throughout the lab, according to a phone call from Jim to them. Along with Nandini, the sick researchers all commit suicide in the lab by shooting themselves. Later, the lab is obliterated in a deliberate explosion to stop the virus from spreading. Jim issues a 24-hour deadline for the removal of Indian military from Kashmir. When Pathaan questions Rafe about the missile's location, he discovers that it is in Afghanistan. Pathaan and his group attack Jim's base after tricking his forces into a trap, but before Rubina can launch the missile that will confine the virus, Quadir is killed. Jim and Pathaan crash land into a cabin while they are being pursued by Pathaan in a jetpack. In the meantime, Raqq Beach is not in the missile when Rubina deactivates it. Instead, she is in a passenger-bound aircraft that is about to land in Delhi. Pathaan learns from her that Jim is in possession of the detonator. When the plane is about to land in Delhi, Luthra calls the air traffic control to stop it. Pathaan and Jim have a vicious brawl inside the cabin. Jim stabs Pathaan, but Pathaan grabs the detonator, disables Raqq Beach, and then throws Jim off the cliff to his death. Pathaan is then promoted to lead Jocker and reinstated into RAW, while Nandini receives a posthumous award for her bravery. Pathaan and Tiger are shown debating retiring and proposing young agents who can take their place in a mid-credits scene, but ultimately decide to keep battling the threats themselves.